So we're just going to talk market update today, just kind of some stats, some numbers. All of these are coming from, the ones I'm using here are from the Atlanta Realtors Association, which is primarily pulling from FMLS. Georgia Association of Real Estate released theirs also. Very, very similar numbers, slightly different. The percentages are the same, but slightly different numbers for number of sales and things like that because they're pulling from different data sources. But the picture that it paints is pretty consistent, okay? Big picture, this is stats that were just released for January. We're looking at 4,289 total sales, 6,200 actives, average sales price of nearly 440, roughly 6,200 new listings, months of supply. First time months of supply in January has dropped below 1 month of supply. Okay, unbelievable. Unprecedented, never before seen in our lifetimes collectively. I don't think Mike's ever seen it, and he's been doing this for 35 years. Okay, unbelievable. And median sales price at $375. Okay, so let's look at each one of these with a little bit greater detail. And I apologize, it's super small on there. Unfortunately, the format that they sent that out, they forgot the page breaks in it, so there's no way to really break that up into smaller pages, but the infographic you can cut and paste and do as you want, as you'd like. But 4,200, roughly 4,300 total sales in the month of January. That's an 8.8 decrease from 2021. All right. So the numbers that we're starting to see now, the caveat that they put in these is these are actually somewhat normalized numbers because they're comparing to 2021, which theoretically is post-pandemic, because we're not comparing to 2020, which is, you know, the first year of the true pandemic dip that we all saw. Well, if you were in business then, you would have seen it. So what you see is a decrease over 2021. So it did go down. Total monthly sales. Let's talk about the sales price, the median sales price. And I know we've talked about this before, and the average sales price. Who wants to explain the difference between median sales price and average sales price?
I remember what he said. I think he said median is like you take the exact middle. Like if you look at it and you think what's in the middle, and average is you add them all, and you divide it by the number of.
Perfect. You're absolutely right. So for those who may not have heard as we're recording this, median is exactly that. It's in the middle. So if I were to rank the lowest sales price on that end of the table and the highest sales price on that end of the table, I'd go halfway down, boom, right here, and that one happens to be priced at $375. Average is you add them all up, divide them by the number, that's the true average, okay? So there is a slight difference. So $375, 23% increase over 2021, and the average sales price is $440,000. Okay, so if a client asks you, you know, somebody's coming from California, what am I likely to spend on a home in Metro Atlanta? I would probably give them the average sales price as opposed to the median. Okay, but we do see a commensurate increase in the sales price from 2021, all right?
In which instance could the median be, or I guess, in which instance could the median be appropriate to use, for example? Is there a case
I think
where
it's,
it can be appropriate on that?
I think it's more appropriately used for forecasting and for, you know, market big picture statistics than it would be for us to apply to a client, because they could care less what the median is. They want to know more about what is the average sales price. What did you say?
I think in this case for percentage increase, that's a really good indicator that a year ago, if you were to line them all up, the middle number was 23% less. That means the overall market is shifting 23% up. average could just mean more expensive homes sold last year,
Good point.
which that's also true. But
Mm-hmm.
it means that like the actual like floor of the market is also moving 23% up. Not just the most expensive ones, but everything.
Got
Yep.
it. So it doesn't mean that we are selling more expensive homes. It's just saying the price of homes is moving up.
The average would say like,
Floor.
well, more expensive homes are selling because when your average is 60K above your median, that means it's really tilted towards
True.
that end of the table.
Yep.
is what you put it. But the median moving up means, I mean, yeah, it's just harder to find homes under that at
Yeah.
this point.
And that's pretty much true of what we see in the real world. When you've got a client that's buying in the 600,000s, there's a lot more available to them, and there's less demand on that than something in the 250 because there's a lot more people that can afford 250 than can afford 600. Make sense? Okay. So still incredible numbers. Here is the months of supply. They didn't put the actual number, but it's basically right there, 0.9 months of supply. And again, that is the first time we've seen that drop below 1 month of supply. And most of the time, if you're looking at the absorption analysis, it just goes 0 months of supply. But that doesn't really tell us anything. We really want to see the point, whatever the fraction is, and that's what it is. But if you notice, this is the lowest it's ever been since 2019, and even well past that, I'm sure.
So how does that, I guess, what does that tell us? Because now
Okay.
we're not even in summer yet, and we have this.
Exactly. Okay, so the translation of months of supply, a lot of people think months of supply means it's a measure of time frame. It's really not. It's a ratio of the supply to demand. Okay? Months of supply is if we were to take the current historical pace of sales, how quickly it takes for a home to sell, and extrapolate that moving forward based off of the number of sales that number of active homes that we currently have on the market, how long would it take them to sell off? And the answer is less than 1 month. Okay, so if no existing homes, no homes started on the market from today on, everything that was currently active would be gone in 0.9 of a month. Let that sink in for a second. If nobody else in Metro Atlanta decided to sell their home, we would run out of homes to sell anybody in less than 1 month. That's amazing. That's how much demand there is in the marketplace.
How do you make a case with that to a buyer? How do you make that make sense, I guess, if you were trying to use that to make them?
I would make the case that that's why you need a trusted agent to guide you through this process. Because trying to do it on your own is going to be nearly impossible. What that number translates to is so much competition on every single home. It is such a strong seller's market that a buyer has, without the guidance and the trusted experience of a qualified professional agent, every home is going to have multiple offers. There's going to be so much competition on every one. If you're trying to do it without somebody who is in the trenches every day, you are going to fall flat on your face. Sir.
I think you can use that in combination with the monthly sales number too. Like the monthly sales number is not that far off normal. Like about the normal number of homes sold in January, there's just so few available that that inventory number is so small. And so Mike talked about it a couple weeks ago, but it's not a supply problem. Just demand is so crazy
Yep.
that supply can't keep up. So for a buyer, it's like, yeah, the homes are there and they're selling. The people that work with the best agents get them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I figured off, I made a video of what Mike said, last year was the busiest, we had 6.1 million, it's usually 5.5 to 5.7 million. So there are homes on the market, but you gotta have someone that's good and you gotta act fast.
Yep.
Yeah, so when they say there's no homes, and say there are.
There are.
Homes about the same
Yep.
we had, it's just they're going fast, and we need to be more competitive.
And that's shown right here in this one. So new listings, there were 6,166 new listings that went on in the month of January. That's a decrease of about 12% from 2021. Active listings, again, almost exactly the same number and a 24% decrease over 2021. So in other words, normally you would see active listings probably 3 to 4 times the number of new listings. So it's not an issue of not new homes coming on the market. It's when they do come on the market, they're gone almost immediately. So again, it's not a supply, I mean, to say it's not a supply problem, it's a demand problem, is to ignore the fact that we could be building more, in which case you wouldn't have a supply problem. But it's so much about demand, okay? So what you see is a decrease over time for the active listings.
I'd love to see the numbers if they kicked Opendoor and Zillow out. Like if they booted their listings out of it. Because those are the only ones that sit for any period of time.
Yeah, you're probably right.
I wonder what
Those and inexperienced agents that overprice everything, hoping for the best. So, yeah, pretty amazing, unprecedented times in our marketplace. This is just truly never before seen, and it emphasizes. And this is here's the quote from our president of the an agent. The president of the Atlanta Real Estate Association. For anyone considering buying or selling in the coming year, it's going to be especially important to plan carefully, adding that although it may seem straightforward, it's not a time to try to go at it alone. We expect more consumers to choose to work with a professional realtor as a market gets increasingly nuanced in this new year. So in other words, it just punctuates the fact that they need you and me to help guide them through this process to get to the end goal. And you know, that's what we do. Our profession is to guide them through this as a trusted agent, and especially if they're trying to buy and sell at the same time, my goodness, do they need you, okay? And your script for that is, look, hey, this is difficult to do in a regular market. It's even worse in this kind of a market. I do it all the time, and I've got success in doing it, and I've got the tools and resources to make it happen for you. All right?
What's
Yes,
the
ma'am.
forecast for the spring market? What do you think the real estate is going to look like?
I'm encouraged. I think it's going to be a phenomenal time. I think there is going to be less inventory to sell, but doesn't mean it can't be done. And we're here to make it happen.
Feisty competitions, right? Winning
Yep.
offers
And Mike's point last Wednesday was we've had a record January, we've had a record February, and we're going to have a record March. How in the world is that possible if there's no inventory to sell? There is inventory to sell. It just requires us to be active and to be out there leading our clients through it. That's all I got. Everybody have a great day.